Because Iran violated the rules, President Trump decided to impose a naval blockade on them. We of course support this tough stance, and we are fully coordinated with the United States at all times. Has Netanyahu's warning that the ceasefire could end soon now backfired? With Iran responding by issuing a chilling new warning? Is Iran's secret weapon now ready for war? As the IRGC teases a coming surprise for aggressors and signals that Tehran has not yet revealed the full extent of its military capabilities? Iran appears to be readying more weapons even as its proxy Hezbollah keeps bleeding Israel on the northern front. An IRGC spokesperson made a major revelation on April 13 about the 40-day Middle East war, signaling that Iran believes it still holds significant military capacity in reserve despite weeks of conflict. Hossein Mohebi said Iran did not use its full capability in the reprisal missile and drone attacks it carried out, suggesting that Tehran deliberately held back part of its response. Iran also warned that its forces would unveil new capabilities if aggression resumes, raising the stakes by hinting at tactics and weapons that it claims the enemy has not yet seen. That warning came just a day after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the Iran truce could end soon, adding to concerns that the ceasefire may be increasingly fragile. Brigadier General Hossein Mohebi said, and I quote, "We haven't yet used all our capabilities, and if the war continues, we will unveil capabilities that the enemy does not have any perception about. We will unveil new warfare tactics that the enemy does not have the capability to counter." Unquote. Press TV reported that a spokesperson for Iran's Ministry of Defense echoed the same assessment, reinforcing the message that Tehran says it still has unused capabilities and replenished reserves. Brigadier General Reza Tlaib said, and I quote, "The armed forces' strategic reserves, including missiles and drones, have been fully replenished and the forces are ready to defend the nation. Beyond the combat power and the use of new tactics and techniques, the Ministry of Defense's logistical support remains active and aligned with the requirements of enhancing the defense power." Unquote. These fresh Iranian threats came during the ceasefire period, even though the Lebanon front remains active and continues to fuel wider fears of renewed regional escalation. US President Donald Trump could now resume limited military strikes on Iran after the latest round of talks failed, raising the prospect of a new phase of confrontation even as diplomacy lies in ruins. Trump and his advisors are reportedly studying plans for limited strikes, while also weighing the option of blocking the Strait of Hormuz, combining pinprick attacks with economic strangulation to squeeze Tehran further. These developments were reported by the Wall Street Journal on April 12, citing multiple US officials who described internal debates over how far Trump is really willing to go against Iran. Trump could in theory return to full-fledged bombing campaigns against Iran, but officials quoted in the report said that scenario was less likely, reflecting fears of a spiraling conflict the US cannot easily control. Officials told the Wall Street Journal that a full war could further destabilize an already fragile region, and that the president remains deeply averse to long, open-ended conflicts that could trap US forces for years. According to the Wall Street Journal report, Trump could also seek a temporary maritime blockade on Iran, all while ramping up pressure on US allies to shoulder more of the burden in any escalation. The president could push allies to take responsibility for a prolonged naval escort mission, forcing them to commit ships and manpower to protect tankers while Washington tries to keep its own costs down. However, officials also said Trump remains open to a diplomatic solution, using the threat of force as leverage while still leaving space for a last-minute deal that he can sell as a personal victory. The White House declined to publicly discuss Trump's specific military and diplomatic options, adding to the sense of secrecy and uncertainty over what Washington might do next. US officials warned that any option Trump chooses next will carry major risks, whether it is limited strikes, a wider war, or a naval blockade that could ignite new clashes at sea. The Wall Street Journal reported that relaunching a full-scale war would further drain critical American munitions, stretching already pressured stockpiles and exposing weaknesses in America's ability to sustain prolonged combat. A prolonged conflict would also expose Trump to stronger backlash from voters who are deeply skeptical of endless Middle East wars, threatening both his political standing and his image as a dealmaker. A successful naval blockade could choke Iran's vital oil revenue and tighten the economic noose, but so far Tehran has refused to buckle under intense sanctions and pressure from Washington.